I'm just going to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about my coin collection here, which is the goal for today. Let me just set the stream and get everything going. Um, let's see. Every time you do a stream, you got to set the tags and all that, so we're going to do that. Um, hey. So it's interesting to think about some of the different coins because some states, they got a lot going for them. Like I love the Kentucky quarter specifically. The Kentucky quarter is great. Um, yeah, the Kentucky quarter is great. I think it is really cool looking and things like that. So I think there's some quarters like I don't like look at Alabama. It's Helen Keller. It's Helen Keller. I had no idea. Yeah, that's Helen Keller. This right there, that's Helen Keller. Um, some states like Missouri, they're going over the arc, things like that. So that's cool. That's nice and everything like that. Maine is a cool quarter. Kansas, the Buffalo, that's obviously really cool. Um, some quarters like I don't care for their quarter design. Like California's all right. Montana's a cool quarter. Oh, hey Aiden, thank you for tuning in. Yeah, but I am missing a few. So the world is not perfect. In fact, it is imperfect. Um, so here, let's see: Delaware, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island. These are some of my. Oh yeah, they are different. Every state has their own quarter. Hey Beta, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys so much. Um, like Arkansas is interesting. So the reason why Arkansas has a diamond on it is because Arkansas is famous for diamond mining, which is really really cool. You can almost see my reflection there. Um, maybe Aiden. They're just quarters. They're just nothing special. But it is cool to say you have all 50. Um, um, because some coins they do have like certain value to them. They are cooler from the aesthetic point of view. Like some states, they went so general. Like look at Texas. The Texas quarter is literally just a state of Texas. See, like at least Indiana has like a race car on it. Like Indiana, at least they like because they're known for their racing. Virginia's cool. Look at the Virginia ships. Virginia's pretty cool. The Virginia ships are nice. Um, Iowa, the little house, that's always nice. Um, Rhode Island, you got the boat over here. Look at that boat from Rhode Island, a sailboat to be exact. Oregon is nice too. I never really looked at the Oregon coin too much. Um, look at that Oregon coin. Look at that Oregon coin. Um, so some quarters just fully depends. Montana is one of my favorite quarters because I just like that logo of that Montana feeling, you know what I mean? It is hot today, but Aiden, we are getting towards winter time, which is nice. So you just gotta hang in there a little bit more, then we'll be in winter no time. Idaho's a cool coin, the hawk. Is that a falcon? Wyoming is a simple, the Cowboys, nice and simple, but still cool. Oklahoma is a pheasant. I believe that's a pheasant. New Mexico's is it's just New Mexico. Arizona, the desert. I don't have Alaska or Hawaii. So I am missing a few. I am, not perfect in that sense. Um, and so things do have their own variation. Florida, I need to change this one. I need to tilt it a little bit. Um, so some of them, uh, let me just set this up right here. All right. So setting this up. So Then some states, oh, Louisiana. I'm missing Louisiana too. Um, so I do have some work to do in that aspect. Let's see. I'm gonna rank the top five favorite quarters. Okay, so coming in at number five, I'm gonna say, mm, I'm gonna say Colorado. I'm gonna say Colorado. Now, Colorado is right here. This is Colorado. And this is a cool quarter. Like when I think of Colorado, or when you think of Colorado, you think of this type of environment: the Rocky Mountains, the vast beauty that you find in the nature. One of the worst quarters I would say is like Texas, New Mexico. It's literally just the state. Like I wish they were a little bit more creative with it. So Colorado is number five. Colorado is number five, top quarter. Number four, I'm gonna say is Connecticut. Now, oh no, Indiana fell out. Gotta put Indiana back. Connecticut. Look at Connecticut. It's that big, beautiful tree right there. So that's Connecticut. That's a beautiful quarter. I just like the simplicity because when you think of Connecticut, I do think of trees. Number three. Number three has to be, I would say, Indiana. Now, oh no, Indiana fell out. Indiana fell out. Indiana is one of the top quarters because Indy 500, the race car. They were creative. They didn't go like Texas or New Mexico. Some of the worst quarters I think are like Texas, New Mexico, Pennsylvania is kind of lame. States that just have the shape of the state and nothing else. Like look at Texas. It's like the Texas coin is literally just the shape of Texas. Beta. So, which of these quarters do you like the best? Do you have an idea of the designs that you like? So yeah, Indiana number four or number three. I'm sorry. Indiana's a great coin. Let's see if I can put that back the right way. Oh, yeah, it kind of falls out a little bit. So Indiana is cool. Number two quarter of the United States of America. Number two quarter. I'm gonna say it is all right. Right here, this bad boy, Kentucky. Kentucky is Yeah, is Kentucky's great. Look at that. Like beautiful stables. That's a lovely quarter. Lovely quarter. It's inscribed with the inscription "My Old Kentucky Home." Maybe that's a song. I don't know. Maybe it is a song. Like I said, I'm not entirely too sure. But the Kentucky quarter, second place as the second best quarter in the United States of America. Kentucky, Kentucky, Kentucky. Now, ladies and gentlemen. I am missing a few. I am missing a few. I'm missing Vermont, Louisiana, Nevada, Alaska, and Hawaii. So I am missing a few in this collection. Do not get me wrong. I am missing a few. Now for the best quarter in the nation. I'll let you guys say what quarter you think should be with best. Which quarter is best? But for my personal preference, Kentucky's a great one, number two. But as the best quarter in the nation, I'm gonna go with right here, Montana. I think Montana has the best quarter. Big sky country, at least for my personal preference. I think it's so cool. Um, I love the cow skull. I think it suits Montana well. That nature, I'm for that. And some honorable mentions, I would say. These three are all really good quarters. Washington, Idaho, Wyoming. Really cool quarters. Oregon's cool too. Oregon's cool. Alabama's kind of lame. I didn't know Helen Keller was from Alabama. Not putting her down by any means. She's a great woman and all that. I just think they could have done a little bit more at their quarter. Same thing with Illinois. I think that's Abraham Lincoln. Still cool, but they could have done better. I like designs. Tennessee's great too. The mystical music factor of Tennessee. Because when you think of Tennessee, you think Nashville. And Nashville is known as Music City. So there are a lot of cool quarters, and I do very much like how um there are so many designs, and people think that the U.S. only has 50 quarters, and we don't. We have some quarters from places like Puerto Rico or some U.S. Samoan Islands. We have so many more than 50 quarter variations. In fact, that might be a question for Google of how many quarters are there. Let's see. Um, how many quarters are there? Quarter designs. There's 56 different quarters, folks. 56. Do we have the one with the horse? Are you referring to this one right here? Kentucky? Beta, that one's really cool. Or are you referring to Delaware? There's a few with horses. Like Delaware has a horse on it. Kentucky has a horse on it. Who else has a horse? Let's see who else has a horse. Um, let's see. We got a bison. Look, we got two quarters with bison. Bison in Kansas and Bison, North Dakota. Oh yeah, Delaware is cool. Delaware is very cool, and there are several quarters with pheasants as well. Like the Oklahoma quarter has a pheasant on it. I'm not sure if you can see it, but the Oklahoma quarter does have a pheasant on it. And then the North Dakota or the South Dakota quarter has a pheasant on it as well. Very interesting, don't you think so? And so some quarters, I wouldn't say they're bad. Like I would say Texas is so just lame. Like look at Texas's quarter. Um, like they literally, there's Texas has so much going for them, and all Texas could think of to put on our quarter is yes, we're gonna put the state of quarter. Oh, it's so fun to collect coins. Aiden, would you mind liking the video? I would appreciate that so much, Aiden, if you did like the video. Same thing, Beta, if you wouldn't mind liking the video. You know I always appreciate it. So Texas is boring. Like Texas has so much going on for them, and they put the state of Texas, the shape of the state of Texas. Thank you for liking the video, crew. I appreciate you so much. Same thing with like New Mexico. Like New Mexico literally just put the state. Like why? Like they could have done so much more. New Mexico has the International World Balloon Fiesta. Like they have that going for them. They have Chile. They have there's a huge film industry presence in New Mexico. New Mexico is known for their film industry. Um, or like Oklahoma did a bird. Like that's fine. Don't get me wrong. Like that's fine. It's just I think they could have done more. Wyoming's cool, simple, but like has a cool design. Thank you for liking the video, Beta, and thank you for liking the video, Aiden. You guys rock. Montana, though, look how cool Montana is. That's my personal preference. I would say objectively, if I had to think fully objectively, oh no, Indiana keeps falling out. Indiana keeps falling out. See, it's not good that I can turn it. Um, Indiana keeps falling out. Oh, Breaking Bad. Imagine if we put Breaking Bad as the quarter. It'd be funny. Um, like some quarters are kind of forgettable. Like look at Mississippi. It's such a forgettable quarter. It's like flowers, and that's nice. Don't get me wrong. Like look at New Hampshire. Such a forgettable quarter. Like yeah, so forgettable. I think. Oh no, Indiana keeps falling out. Indiana keeps falling out. There we go. Arkansas is cool. They're known for the diamond mine. Michigan, again, it's just the state of Michigan. Like they could have done more. They really could have done more. See, at least North Carolina. Look, the first flight. It says the first flight right there. See, that's cool. That's cool. Um, so like at least they are talking about something that is so cool and like because flight that's huge to think because flying is like a concept of humanity that is so alien just 100 years ago, and we flew, and that happened in the United States. Like, wow, really cool. Oh, thank you, Aiden. I appreciate you so much. Um, um, you're great. I appreciate the kind words so much, and by coming around and supporting the channel, you support me. By tuning in, liking the video, commenting, and it helps out. So thank you very much for being one of my subscribers. Um, so and then like some quarters, like my least favorite, Alabama and Illinois. Like, come on, that's what they went with. Like, like Texas. Like, come on, Texas. They went with the shape of Texas. Absolutely. We would like flying is one of the biggest advancements of humans ever. We went from flying to going to the moon in like 50 years, which is amazing to think about. That's how fast flying has advanced. So humans they find a way. If they really want to, they'll find a way. If they really want to, they will find a way. South Dakota, I feel like the thing South Dakota is most known for is um, South Dakota is mostly known for Mount Rushmore. So that makes sense. Where would I live if any in the universe? I think Earth because it was designed for Earth. The prettiest planet is Saturn, though. I would have to say Saturn because of the rings. And the first plane, that was crazy. Um, that how we just flew in the last like 100, or I think it's actually a little bit more than 100 years now. Um, but to think that oh my goodness, Indiana keeps falling out of its place. Come on, Indiana, we might need some glue or something. And some places, like, they honor their heritage. Like Arkansas, they're known for their diamond mines. Um, Tennessee, they're known for their music. New York, also, like the Statue of Liberty, like I get it, they are known for the Statue of Liberty, but I feel like New York could have done better than putting the state of New York on there. So, like Arkansas, they did something they're known for. Kentucky, Tennessee, they did something they're known for. Um, Indiana, something they're known for. Texas, they're with the shape of Texas. So I don't know. It's kind of boring, don't you think? Um, oh, that's probably a good idea, Beta. I feel like the Statue of Liberty is one of the most iconic things in America, though. Like when people who don't live in America think of America, they think of like the Statue of Liberty, or like people who don't live in France, when they think of France, they think of the Eiffel Tower. Or in India, people who aren't from India, when they think of India, they think of the Taj Mahal, things like that. So it's good when quarters honor um, their history of what they came from, because like America is so big that compared to like places in Europe, that each state is like a country because it has its own culture. Like some of the states are literally bigger than most countries. Um, for example, like literally Texas is worth more money than the nation of France, Spain, Russia. It's amazing, and that's just one state in America. That's literally just one state in America, and it's worth more money than Texas. Or it's worth more money than Russia. It's worth like the GDP, gross domestic product, is higher than France, a whole nation. Like so, it's wild to think that it's so yeah. America's a huge nation with a lot of diversity as well. Each state kind of is like their own country in a way, but it's the United States. The United States where they're united as one, which is really cool. Um so like I think like Kentucky's one of my favorite. Um, like Kentucky has a really cool design, things like that. Missouri, you got to do something with the arc. To think that they had the Olympics in Missouri, that's incredible. In St. Louis, the states that have had Olympics hosting them are California. California has had an Olympic event. Missouri has had an Olympic event. Um, Atlanta, I don't think I have. Where's Georgia? Where's the Georgian quarter? Where's Georgia? Where's Georgia? Here's Georgia up here. This is the Georgian Quarter, way up here. What's that, Aiden? What is that? So the Georgian Quarter is very like it's cool. Like peaches. Georgia is known for their peaches. I feel like they're known for more than just a fruit, though. Oh, birthday! Happy birthday! Oh, another point scored on Father Time, Aiden. So happy birthday, Aiden. And thank you for coming around, Aiden. I appreciate you so much. Connecticut's a simple quarter, like simple but elegant. The tree of Connecticut, like that's amazing. Um, yeah, I really can't talk about how much I dislike the quarter Texas. Like it's so boring. So like Texas is a great state. Like that state is amazing. How much money and power and like stuff that state has going on for it. And that's just one state in the United States. And then you have more low key states, like a low key state is um is like a Montana or a Wyoming or like look like a Wyoming is a pretty low key state. Any of these states besides Washington. Washington is all these states are beautiful. Every state has because every state is so big that they have the US is the third biggest country in the world, like by landmass and population, interestingly enough. And so yeah, Texas is probably like Texas, New York, and California are like the biggest states. California, oh, Florida also. Florida also like there's so much money in Florida. There's more money in just one of these states than there are in so many countries. When you think about it, like Texas is worth more to think than like France. That's wild. That is so wild. Texas, one state, is worth more than the nation of France or the nation of Russia. And that's just 1/50th of what the US has. Um, uh, I've been to, out of all these states, I'm going to point to the ones I've been to. I've been to New Jersey, I've been to Georgia, I've been to New York, I've been to Tennessee, I've been to Illinois. I've been to Arkansas. I've been to Florida, Texas. I've been to California. I've been to Colorado. I've been to um, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arizona, and Alaska. So I've been to quite a few states. Um, what state? Beta? What country are you from? What country are you from, Beta? And we'll look it up because yeah, some of these states, the amount of money and power that just one U.S. state has, like New York, is worth more than like so many countries. Like to think, there's a reason why the U.S. like wins the Olympics every year or every couple years. It's because um, they just have so much resources and they're so insanely wealthy. How rich the U.S. is, and so they are they're very like for example the state of Texas could have its own Olympic team very easy. Any of these states could have their own Olympic team and do better than so many countries. Iceland, oh, Iceland's a beautiful state. That's right, you did tell me that. Iceland is that's a beautiful country. um and that's a great spawn. So right here we see that the GDP of Iceland is $28 billion. um let's see. And then we come here and we look at this, and then the GDP of Texas is 2.03 trillion, which is just wild to think about. And that's like Iceland is a beautiful nation, Beta, a beautiful, beautiful nation. And and you guys got a lot going for them. It's just amazing to think like the grandness of these. Like here, what's one of the most poor, the poor is states is like New Mexico. So GDP of New Mexico. Let's see what it is. Um, so New Mexico is one of the least wealthiest states um, together, and the GDP of New Mexico, the least valuable U.S. state, is $130 billion. So that's amazing to think about just how much money is in this nation. Because we got, like in the U.S., you have infrastructure, you have pure wealth, you have natural resources. So there's a lot going for the U.S. Like um, there's a lot. And by no means am I putting down other nations because other nations have things the U.S. could never have. Like for example, like Iceland is so exotic and beautiful, and the U.S. does have plenty of beautiful sides too. But it's amazing, and there's some wildlife in Iceland that we would never have in the U.S. So everybody is in their own situation for a reason, and it's just amazing to think. Oh, Mississippi is also a low wealthy state. Um, 75% of that's from Breaking Bad. That's funny. Um, Aiden said, "You want to make a video together?" Aiden, I have class here in a bit. I have class. I have to go to class. I'm sorry, so I can't today. That's funny because Breaking Bad has done so much revenue from New Mexico. New Mexico has so much oil, though. New Mexico has so much oil. It's the fifth biggest U.S. state by landmass, and New Mexico has so much natural resources because people think New Mexico is a desert, but when I went there, it's amazing because it's not. It's a forest. It's like a mountainous. It's beautiful in New Mexico. They have so much oil in that state and natural gas. It's incredible. Um, it's incredible. Let's see. GDP of Mississippi. Let's see. Um, Mississippi. GDP of Mississippi is one. All that's per capita GDP. Adding around, the oil trade also contributed to 115 billion. So New Mexico and Mississippi around the same. Um, which coin do I really want? Alaska and Hawaii. So look at this. I don't have Alaska or Hawaii. Those are two states I just need to get. But it's so hard because you can't just like go to a bank and ask, oh, give me the Alaska quarter. It's not how it works. It's kind of like just luck of the draw. Kind of just luck of the draw. You know what I mean? So that is something that has to be taken into account. So something really interesting, very very interesting. Um, so yeah, some quarter every state has their own things going for them. The state that has like the that's 50th in a lot of stuff and um, is like Mississippi. They 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 have a lot of like stuff with the best managed state in the U.S. like objectively is probably Texas or Massachusetts. Massachusetts is the amazing state, such a good state. And but the state I want to live in the most, oh my goodness, Indiana keeps falling. The state that I want to live in the most of any state is Colorado. This is my beautiful state. It's a mixture of everything they have there: beauty, nature, culture, population. Colorado is the state that I want to live in the most. Definitely Colorado. Um, so yeah, probably Colorado. I would say that. And so, oh my God, I would love that. I would absolutely love that. That would be so cool to live in Colorado. And yeah, we'll see. Tennessee was also a fun state to live in. Like California is like has more. This state has more money than most countries, which is wild. I've only been to two other countries. I've been to Panama, where the Panama Canal is, and Costa Rica, both beautiful states. And when I went there, I was really it was a great experience, and I got a sense of gratitude towards being from America because like being in America, you have so much going for you. You have so much going for you when you live in America, and then you go to these other nations like in Central America, and it's so sad to see um, uh, it's so sad to see like sometimes they go without basic necessities. So I'm very grateful um, to be born in America. Like I was so like going and traveling to Central America was a life changing experience. And so, yeah, all the U.S. states have so much going for them, in terms of like natural resources. Even if like you just even if like for example like a state like Arkansas, a more low key state, even if they just sold their natural resources, they would be worth so much more than like most countries, which is wild to think about. It's wild to think about, and there's plenty of other countries like the United Arab Emirates or like they're so valuable. They're so valuable, but the only natural resources they have there is oil. And so when the demand for oil goes down, and it will in the next decade, because you see an everlasting transition towards electric and renewable resources, that's going to hurt their economy really bad. Like these states, like every state here has oil. Every state here has oil for the most part, lumber, diamonds, gold, everything. Alaska was bought for like, I forgot, like $15 million back 150 years ago. And we've pulled more money out of Alaska just in like silver or gold than we paid for it. Alaska was one of the best return on investments of all time. So yeah, I feel very blessed to live in America. I had a good spawn. That is true. The biggest amount of oil is for cars, and like all like my friend group, like now the majority of us use electric cars, which is interesting because just 5 years ago we didn't use electric cars, but like in just half a decade now we almost all drive electric cars. I personally don't. I drive an old Toyota, but like so yeah, like the United Arab Emirates and Qatar, they have a lot going for them because of the oil. But the thing that their entire nation is dependent upon is the international demand for oil, and their entire like their so that is one thing that they have, and those are great nations. Like the UAE is so well run and such a respectable nation because they have no crime. It's like the safest country in the world. Like I think Dubai is like the safest country in the world, and um, they have so much going for them. They have so much going for them. So props to the UAE and Qatar because they manage what they do have extraordinarily. So good for them. Good for them. Um, so do I have a $2 bill? I don't have a $2 bill, Aiden. I don't. I want a $2 bill so bad, Aiden. I do want a $2 bill. That would yeah, Dubai is a city in the UAE. So but I was saying like Dubai is um like it's one of the safest cities in the world. The world. So yeah, Dubai is a really incredible city, very well run, a lot of money there, all based on oil. It attracts because the premise is like it attracts billionaires and rich people from other countries. So, for example, there's a lot of billionaires and incredibly wealthy people from America. They make their money in America, and then they say, "Hey, I'm gonna go store it in Dubai because Dubai is gonna naturally um, tax me less than America would." But it's harder to make money from scratch in Dubai than it is in America, um, especially in a state like Texas. Texas is one of the best business friendly places in the world. Like, because they have like this state of Texas has so much going for it. It's incredible. Like the the amount of money that is just in this state is wild. Sure thing, Beta. It's so wild how much money is in just that state. Um, because Texas, like, and not only does Texas have like infrastructure and everything, they have oil too. They have so much oil. It's ridiculous how much oil that state has. Um, it's ridiculous. And so some states they have less natural resources. Like Rhode Island, for example, is the smallest state. Rhode Island is the smallest state in America. and it's a very small state. There's only a few big cities in Rhode Island. Um, so it's funny because Aiden, in Texas, people are actually moving to Texas because Texas is so business friendly. They are having an influx of population because so many people want to live in Texas. So in America, you see people leaving California, and then they're going to Texas. Um, so people are moving from Cali to Texas. Over here is going to get cheaper. Aiden, so do you live in any of these places that we've covered? Because sometimes, like some states, they're like, for example, New Mexico is a state that like they have so many natural resources, but it's not. They don't manage their resources correctly. Um, uh, they don't manage their resources correctly. Other than places like um like Texas has not see Texas and California they have similar levels because both of them have high populations, a thriving industry, as well as a ton of natural resources. California is a lot stricter on taxes and they are less business friendly than Texas. So you see a lot of Silicon Valley, big huge companies like Google, Tesla, Intel, um, semi huge billion dollar companies, they're deciding to move from California to Texas because it's just more business friendly over there. They're going to tax them less. So in Texas, there's a sense of uh, they want you to come here. They want you to come here in Texas. So like yeah, Texas is how do you pronounce that? Azua. Um, where that's in California, right? That's in Los Angeles County, I believe. Yeah, it's in L.A. County, right? Yeah, I think that's in L.A. County, right, Aiden? Yeah, I think that's yeah, it is. Okay, just confirm. Um, so yeah, Texas, they so every state has their own deal going on. So many states have their own stuff going in. Then the federal government manages the states as a whole. The state that like produces the most assets for the federal government, I would say, as a whole, is California, Texas, New York, and Florida. Those states are wild. How much money is in like so it like I know I keep saying it, but like dang like because America is the center for business and money in the world. America has all the most of the world's supply of money and gold is in America, and it's based like the nation is based off freedom and democracy and um, the individualism. Like you don't like you're able to be a free thinker in America. So it is really like I was blessed to be born in America, and traveling to Central America was something that like I learned a lot, and I realized just how lucky I was to be like to be living in these states. These are views right here that are currently going on right now. 202 in the last 60 minutes. Um, yeah, pretty cool. Um, so yeah, really cool, and it was a great experience, and I am very grateful to be here. Very very grateful to be here. So ideally, you'll be able to uh, ideally you'll be able to uh, like travel the world, and that's the best way to develop your sense of community and character is by traveling. I also wanted to talk about this book real quick. I got Marcus Aurelius Meditations. Marcus Aurelius was the king of the Roman Empire, and he has a lot of great things that you can remember in this book. I just want to uh, like really small things that are really cool, like about being stoic and um, not letting small things get to you. So, really good book that I would recommend. Really great book. Marcus Aurelius Meditations. Highly recommended. if anybody's interested in that. Um, but yeah, these states are wild. Just how much money is in these states. So the best run state in the union in the United States is probably Massachusetts. Massachusetts is probably the most well run. Massachusetts or Texas, I could probably say objectively. Um, Massachusetts or Texas, and the worst run state, not worst, but like New Mexico and Mississippi probably are some of the less well run states. And then you have some states in the middle that are like really well run. Like Colorado's very well run state. Ohio's a pretty good well run state. The Carolinas, the Dakotas, um, things like that. What? Why are those the best ran states? So it's based off several factors. So, for example, Beta, every single one of these states has so much money just in natural resources. And what I mean by natural resources, I'm talking about things like gold in the ground, diamonds in the ground, lumber, oil, natural gas. Those kinds of things comprise of natural resources. Um, so, like Massachusetts and Texas, which in my opinion are the best run states, is because just from like the business aspect, they funnel their economy in a way that they make so much money. Like Massachusetts is a state that's focused on education, and that is so like the, you go to Massachusetts and the average person is so incredibly wealthy. Not I'm loosely using the term average person, but so many people are. And then in Texas, it's a state focused on business and being business oriented. And by that, they've built themselves. Now, Texas is one of the biggest states. It's the second biggest state. Alaska's the first. Um, and it's really cool because Texas is they've run their resources so incredibly well. Texas has so much going for them. Every one of these states has so much going for them and has the potential to be better off than most countries. Even like a state like New Mexico has more money than so many countries. And New Mexico is on the bottom tier of the US states, at the very, very bottom of the barrel. And they still have are better off than most countries, um, than so many countries, I would say, especially in places like Central America or Africa. What major are you? I'm a economics and finance major, so I study economics and finance. Um, that's my background. So my education and what I'm trained in is like money and economics. So that's why I take an interest in these things because economics is really cool and it does affect so many people on the strongest level. So you'll see people you'll see people from different states and they all have different experiences. Like the average person in Alaska is going to have a much different experience than the average person in California because California has more people in one little county, one tiny little county, than the whole state of Alaska, which is wild to think about because Alaska is so big. Alaska is bigger than like most countries, I would say. Um, and that's just one state. It's crazy, just one state. So we are really lucky um, of how to do this, so you can help people that are going there. Oh, that'd be nice, Aiden. That would be nice. I would recommend that if you live in America, I would recommend you travel as much as you can through the different states because like in Europe, when you're in Europe, you're like in France and then you go to Spain, like you go to a different country. That's the equivalent of going from like New Mexico to Texas or Arizona to California. They're right next to each other. Um, except the only difference is like a state is in a single state in America is bigger than like so many countries, which is like when I went to Costa Rica, I remember like figuring out how small it was, and like I'm like, wow, this country of Costa Rica is like 80 times smaller than like the state of Texas or something like that. So it's incredible to see like I got just an idea of how big the US is. It's so massive. And then you have some nations like Canada and Canada and Russia, or Russia is the biggest country in the world by landmass, but they haven't really done a good job at managing their resources because They have Russia. It's amazing how much oil and natural resources they have over there. Russia has so many natural resources, but they don't manage it well. And literally, Texas, the single state of Texas, is worth more than Russia, the biggest country in the world. Just Texas, just one of those 50 states is worth more than Texas, the biggest country in the world by landmass. And Russia has the potential to be so wealthy. They just have done a very poor job of managing their resources. So, like, while Texas is a state that they've done so good at managing their resources, because it's not about how much you have, it's about how you manage it. I guess you can say that's the um, so it's like that type of ideology. But that is a good idea, very much indeed, very much indeed. Um, yeah, that is true, Beta. It is does suffer with a lot of corruption, which is no good. And because when you allow a nation to market itself and regulate itself, like Texas or Arizona is a good example. Arizona is a very business friendly state. You get states that are worth so much money. Like there's a reason why Texas is worth more than Russia, like and most countries. There's a reason for that. It's because they managed what they have so well, and they already have a ton. They already have a ton of stuff going on for them. So yeah, it is a problem with corruption. Like Russia does have that issue, um, and hopefully, that they can figure something out. We want them because what's good for them is good for the world. And we're all in one world. Like nations and borders, like sure they divide us, but we're all in this world together, and we need to have a sense of globalism. How like we're all people of Earth, and I think that's an important sense. So in America right now, um, we have the election coming up, and there's Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, and people they're divided of who they want, Kamala or Donald Trump, and they're two opposite sides of the coins. Because Kamala is saying, "Hey, no, let's." Um, Kamala Harris is saying, "Hey, let's finance other countries." Like, for example, we like they want to give money to nations like Ukraine, for example. Kamala wants to fund that, while Donald Trump doesn't. He only wants to focus on American problems. So those are two different ideologies that in America is a common theme going on right now. And I'm not going to tell you which one is right or wrong because that's not my place. And I don't even know. I'm just one single person. It's good to get an idea of what's right and wrong for yourself and be an individual free thinker. Um, like, don't let people tell you your thoughts. Like, go and think for yourself is generally the best concept. Um, so yeah, I think and like the state I want to live in the most is Colorado. Definitely Colorado. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Um, you're marked out with in. Do you mean international? Um, absolutely, absolutely. It would be bigger with like because a lot of like for example, like the U.S. is for things like every nation flies, but over 90% of the planes are made in the U.S. So is there's things like that, or just the fact that and Americans work so much more, like hourly or like over the course of a week in a work week, Americans work more hours than the average like European, for example. And so they naturally make more money. Like a country like Greece or Spain, they don't work as much. And there is like a somewhat of a reflection of their um, GDP and the money they make. But money is not everything. For example, like you can have a completely fulfilling life in Greece or Spain, a completely fulfilling life, and to each his own. So, um, so yeah, there is a sense of um, how you manage your resources. So, I don't know if the U.S. I really don't know. I'm just one person, and I'm not telling anybody how to think. Just to disclose that, but like the U.S. it has enough power and resources um, because the U.S. is the most powerful nation in the world. That is an objective fact, and um, like that's just a fact. There's no other nation as powerful as the U.S. That There's just not, and that's not me being a biased American. That's just me looking at graphs and numbers. Um, and there's a lot of stuff that the U.S. has wrong with it too. For example, like we have issues with so many things, and um, so we have problems of our own. The U.S. does have problems with its own, but how you manage those resources and manage the people is gonna depend on what if your nation is good, not good, or great. Because in places like Central America, you see vast amounts of poverty, and a lot of it is due to the corruption. Like Argentina and Venezuela, they have some of the most oil in the world. They just don't have their nations are just unfortunately controlled by a small amount of people that are setting the rest of the nation back. So the U.S. has enough resources to fully just be fully independent. But sometimes it is just more affordable to get goods made overseas. Like for example, China does a great job of producing labor very, very low cost, and also sometimes low value too. Um, but the costs are so low that they're able to sell to any other nation. So China is a superpower because the biggest superpowers in the world are probably America's definitely number one. China is second probably. Um, India has the potential, but India, for example, like India has 1.5 billion people in the nation, and they didn't even win one Olympic gold medal. And that's not me. Um, like it's just like you wonder how did that happen? Because like a nation like Qatar has 2 million people, and they won a gold medal. Just 2 million people, and they won a gold medal. That is true, Beta. Absolutely true. Um, and there's corruption and bad stuff going on in every country to some extent. It's just like to the extent of which it's managed. So you're right. You're absolutely right. It does fully depend on just how the resources are run. I would say because like you got like for example like Germany is a nation that has so like they have a lot going from some of the most intelligent people in the world are from Germany. Um, and so Germany is a nation to where they've taken a lot of refugees. So props to Germany for being um, such a upstanding and moral country in the 21st century. Oh, thank you, Aiden. I appreciate that. So yeah, props to Germany. Um, so it fully depends on how you manage resources. Like we have in Mexico, we have a lot of people immigrating from Mexico to the U.S. Um, and I think somewhat of a like Mexico is like I don't know they're almost like wanting their people to leave. It seems like, and I'm for immigration. Immigration should be like completely a thing, like because more people and more labor force is just better for everybody. Um, and so like Mexico shouldn't want their nation's people to leave. They shouldn't want their people to leave to a different country. Like America wouldn't want people. Like people are coming to America. People are not leaving America. They're coming to America. So like nations should have that ideology. They should want people to come to their nation. Um, that is true too, Beta. It is good in most situations. Um, and so like I personally am for immigration and like things like that, and it should be done in a legal and responsible way. Um, it is hard to regulate because the U.S. is just so big. It's so big, and it's hard to manage all across the southern border because the southern border covers California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, all of which are huge states. Like that, like Arizona, California, Texas, and New Mexico are some of the biggest states in the U.S. So the biggest state in the U.S. by landmass is Alaska. Oh, yo, what up, dog? What up, Falcon? Thank you for tuning in, Falcon. I appreciate you so much. So, the biggest state is Alaska, and then the second biggest state is Texas. The third biggest state by landmass, California. Fourth biggest is Montana. Fifth biggest is New Mexico, and the sixth biggest state by landmass in the United States of America is Arizona. So, of the top six biggest states, four of them cover the southern border. So it's just so much land because the Western United States, those states are much bigger than the Eastern United States. Like for example, states like Connecticut, Rhode Island, Vermont, the Carolinas, they're a lot smaller. Like those like the state of Rhode Island could fit in the state of Texas probably dozens and dozens and maybe who knew hundreds of times. Thanks, Falcon. I appreciate that. Um, so yeah, those are things that you learn, like because the Western United States is just so much bigger. It's it's not even close how much bigger it is compared to the Eastern United States. 'Cause Florida's a big state. Florida's a pretty big state, and Florida does have a lot going for it. Dakotas are big, Colorado's big, Nebraska. They like it's West Virginia's on the smaller side. It's so funny because to America, West Virginia is a small state, but there are so many countries that could completely fit inside of West Virginia. But to America, it's tiny. You know, it's Brazil is a huge nation. I didn't realize how big the nation of Brazil is. Um, like Pluto, the dwarf planet Pluto, um, is oh thank you, Aiden. I appreciate that so much. I'm gonna go to class here soon, so I was gonna end the stream here soon, anyways. But thank you so much for tuning in, Aiden. The dwarf planet of Pluto is the size of Russia, which is wild. That is bananas. That's how big Russia is, and Russia would be a superpower if they manage their resources correctly. They they lack some technical ability because Russia should be one of the most powerful nations in the world, but like Texas or one state of Texas is worth more than Russia, which is what sure thing. Thank you, Aiden. Which is so wild to think about. That is so wild to think about. So every state does have their own things going for them. Like all there's some states that like I've never been to. Like I've never been to Missouri. I would love to go to Maine. I would love to go to Maine. I've never been to Michigan. I've never been to Iowa. I've never been to Wisconsin. My freshman year college roommate was from Wisconsin. Oregon, I would love to go to Oregon. That's like the Bigfoot capital of the world, they say. Like ton big, alleged Bigfoot is spotted there. No, alleged. I want to make that clear. Alleged. Um, and so yeah, some states are just oh, that is true. We need to do that. Thank you, Falcon, for reminding me. Um, let me put the things. I'm gonna write the. Thank you for reminding me, Falcon. So yeah, some like every state here has vast beauty in it. Vast because every state is huge for the most part. Like some states, it's ridiculous how big Alaska is. Alaska is so big. I've been to Alaska, and I remember we drove for 6 hours one day, and then I saw on a map just how much land we covered, and we went like this far on the map of a map like this big, and it was wild that we drove for like 6 hours. So Alaska is so big. It is so big. Hawaii is a small state, but it is beautiful. And but like Hawaii doesn't have any much natural resources. Their natural resources are like bananas, and their whole infrastructure is based off, for the most part, tourism. Um, but like, there's a lot of like, for example, when I went to Costa Rica, I learned that their entire economy, for the most part, vaguely, generally speaking, a lot of it is based off tourism. Same thing with Italy. Italy is a nation that most of their economy is based off tourism. But none of these states in the United States, besides Hawaii, is really based off tourism because there's infrastructure, there's industry there. There are because these states are just so big. Um, absolutely, fucking, absolutely. So yeah, just because they're so big, um, some states have like they have a lot going for them. Like Texas is a state that just like they have so much going for them, so much going for them. They're doing it right. Texas is the state doing it right for sure. But well, guys, I have to go to class here very, very soon. So I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You guys are incredible. And again, all these thoughts are just my own personal opinion and things like that. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you, Aiden. Thank you, Beta. Thank you, Falcon. Thank you guys so much. And I appreciate you guys so much. You guys rock. You guys are the best, and I'm so grateful to be on this platform. Thank you, YouTube, for creating such a wonderful platform where people can express themselves and get a sense of community. So thank you, YouTube, for that. Um, oh my gosh, Scrub, you just got here. I'm going to class. I have class in 7 minutes, Scrub. I have to leave like right now. I know. I'm so, I have to leave like right now. I have class in 6 minutes now. Um, so I know, Scrub. I know. I'm so sorry, Scrub. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you, Scrub. Sorry that you came at the end, but good talking to all you guys, and thank you for watching Swamp Cactus.